I drive my bus in a busy city. That's why road safety is so important to me. I know that I must slow down and be extra careful when I make a wide turn. Buses need more room than cars. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, remember to give buses plenty of time and space to finish turning before driving ahead. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So I'm watching the NBA playoffs last night, and I just can't get the thought out of my mind. Minnesota is beating San Antonio with experience, not with talent. It's like watching Vegas and Mammoth all over again. Vegas' experience, able to grind out close games, and Minnesota made some mistakes of their own, but they won the fourth quarter, and they won the game. The Utah Mammoth closing out the season. And some of the guys talking with the media afterwards. Nick Schmaltz wrapping up the 2026 campaign. Here's Nick with the media.
Can you walk me through the last 24 or 48 hours of kind of processing, not just personally, but with your team, about how the season ended?
Yeah, it's obviously still pretty disappointing. I thought, it was a really tight series, and thought we could have come on the other side of it, but at the end of the day, we didn't. So we got to learn from it and take this experience and try to get better from it.
As a leader in this room, where do you feel like the biggest point of growth was, not just from last year to this year, but over the course of the season?
Yeah, I think everyone came in ready to go right from day one. I think we had a goal to get to the playoffs, and everyone was bought in right away and dug really deep to, get to that point. And a lot of guys took a lot of big steps for us, played huge roles. It was fun to see the growth in everyone's game, and just makes me really excited to, see what guys come in next year and how hungry everyone's going to be.
Congratulations on some new career highs this year, and I know you also got some Selke votes, so congratulations on that. Just how do you feel like you've grown as a player this season?
Yeah, I think, transitioning to center, I played center my whole life, and then haven't really played in the NHL much, and I felt really comfortable there right from when they switched me there, and thought my 200-foot game was really good and more consistent every night, kind of bringing the same game and not as many ups and downs, and just trying to do everything I can for the team and playing in all situations. So looking to build off of that and continue to get better.
We've seen you have success alongside Clay and Keller on the same line over the past couple of years, and now Lawson Krause consistently on that top line. What is it about those two guys that makes you play to your best? Yeah,
I think it's a good balance. I think me and Kels have played together for a long time, have good chemistry. We're always looking for each other and read really well off each other. And Krauser's a big guy that skates well, makes plays, and has a finishing touch. So I thought we gelled well together, and hopefully we can continue building our chemistry and be a big impact next year.
Heading into the first offseason of your new contract, what's something that you want to work on over the offseason to prepare for a new season?
I think just getting better. I think I can score. I still continue to score more, be more productive every night, help the power play out. I think we need to be better in that area. I think especially in the playoffs, I think we weren't good enough on the power play. So focus on that. Face-offs, work on that. I don't know. There's a bunch of things, but I think just making sure I'm ready to go and put myself in a good position to be healthy and ready to go from day one next year.
Wasn't the result that you guys wanted, but how does that series with Vegas help build confidence in what you're building here and what you can accomplish moving forward? Yeah,
I think it was huge for a lot of us. It's been a while for lot of us that haven't played in the playoffs in a long time. So just feeling that intensity, how hard it is, the difference between the regular season and what it takes to win. I think we were right there every game. It was tight, and we got to find a way to get over the hump and make that play that matters and ultimately leads to winning the game and the series.
Clayton Keller went through a lot this year personally in his life. He still played 82 games, all games, had a career high in assists, 88 points. What did you see from him this season, being able to push through all that, to have the season he had?
Yeah, it was, pretty impressive, to be honest. I mean, he went through a ton. Can't imagine what he was going through with his family life. I mean, it was terrible. We were all devastated, and he battled through it. Very impressive, and just shows how great of a leader he is. And he didn't want to miss any games. So hats off to him, and another great season by him.
When you spoke at your contract signing, it was a lot of emphasis on buy-in for this team, this organization. As you guys continue to move down the stepping stones of success, when you're growing and building on those things, where is the level or the standard of expectation you guys want to continue to set moving forward? Yeah,
I think we're going to have the same expectation as this year. I think getting to the playoffs, I think that's the first and foremost thing. I think it's hard to do. There's only 16 teams that make it every year. Good teams miss it. So we can't overlook the regular season and just think we're going to be in the playoffs. We got to come to work. Our division's probably the best division in hockey, so it's not easy, and it's going to be a battle every night. And then once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. So I think just focusing on getting in first and then go from there.
There's Nick Schmaltz. Now here's Dylan Guenther.
I know Bill was laughing this morning. Couldn't take me seriously in the meeting there.
What do you take the most pride in this season? I know it was a long one, but ups and downs. Where do you guys take the most pride in?
Yeah, I feel like we set goals, and we achieved them. I think throughout the year, we obviously had bigger goals, but throughout the season, we were pushing to make the playoffs, pushing to be in the wild card one, and we achieved it. And not satisfied with it. I think there was still I think we left a little bit on the table, which gives you a little bit of a sour taste. But I think it's important to have that too, and just so you have that feeling and you understand what it's like, because you don't want to be there again.
Andre shared with us after that last game that the game one of round one was a big learning lesson for a lot of younger guys like yourself. What did you take away most from that first game of the first round of Stanley Cup playoffs? It was kind of what I expected, to be honest. It's just long. I think the whole series is just long, and it's just about sticking with it the longest. And you're playing the same team, and you're just continuing trying to grind them down. So I think just the process of trying to grind down the other team and how to, just chip away and kind of invest is a good learning experience. There was an air of confidence about this room all season long. What made the biggest difference between last year and this year in terms of being able to operate in that culture with the group?
Yeah, I think when you have a little bit of success, definitely brings confidence. But no, I think that we've always kind of had that. I feel like for us to be successful, we play with a little bit of swagger, and we have some skill and stuff. And I think it's important for us to use that.
40 goals this year. Congratulations. That's a big milestone. But where do you think you can get? You're still really young, probably still pushing to get even better than that. Where do you think you really can reach in your career? Yeah, I think I've gotten better every single season, physically, and I think I just want continuous improvement. Might not show up all the time on the game sheet, but I think just trying to strive and trying to get a little bit better every single season is my goal. How do you think playoff hockey compared to like the other high levels of hockey or like high intensity hockey games that you played, whether in WHL championships and World Juniors and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, was there anything that surprised you about the intensity or anything like that?
I feel like it prepares you well, like playing in those big games, and even playing in the playoffs in junior, like still a 7-game series, you're still breaking down the other team. And I think it prepares you. But yeah, I mean, just the crowd and the people watching on TV and stuff. I think it's just a lot of fun to be there, and to have that makes you want to be back there.
You mentioned the 40 goals again, big deal. Congrats. But Turney, you mentioned all throughout the season how good you were on the other side of the puck as well, and not a lot of people see that. How do you think you've improved this season, especially on that side of the puck?
Yeah, I think like goal scoring has kind of got me into the league, but being able to defend and stuff got me more minutes, especially like when I was younger, and just allowed me to play more and then utilize the stuff that I'm good at. So I take pride in that. I think I'm competitive, and I don't like when they score when I'm on the ice. So I think that's a big part of it. And I mean, if you want to be a winning team, everyone has to defend. So.
Who knows what the ceiling is for you goal-wise, but what do you want to work on during the off-season to help you into the next season?
I feel like I can hold on to more pucks, like down low. Try to just work on protecting the puck a little bit better, spinning off guys and stuff, and then getting to the net. I think if I can add like a few more rebound goals and like even tipping goals, those add up. So I think continuing to work on that aspect, and then just speed and strength. I mean, faster I am, the more productive I'll be, and the better the team will be.
A couple of the guys have said that playoffs are now the standard. How do you uphold that standard moving forward with how difficult it is to even get to the postseason?
Yeah, I think you just want more all the time from yourself, and then when the players want more from themselves, the team will just naturally be better. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten better ever since I kind of came here. The team's gotten a little bit better every season, and I don't think that'll stop.
What did that first round series against Vegas, an experienced team, teach you about what it takes to win in the postseason? Yeah,
I think just sticking with it. I think the last game we played in front of them a little bit too much, and they were just pretty calm and collective and composed, and allowed us to just kind of make the mistakes. So I think just keeping that level head and not forcing stuff when it's not there, just chipping away, and it'll come.
All right, there is Dylan Guenther. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Steve Cleveland and Mike Folta coming up, talking NBA playoffs. We'll talk with Steve next, and then Mike on the Mammoth. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Steve Cleveland joined us in yesterday's show to talk NBA playoffs, all the Game 7s over the weekend. Obviously, we had Game 1 last night with the Knicks just annihilating. I mean, just absolutely crushing the Sixers. Another blowout win for New York. And then Minnesota in San Antonio surviving. Spurs had a 3 at the buzzer to win it. Couldn't get it to go, so Minnesota gets the W there. Steve obviously didn't know about those games, but here he is talking playoffs with us. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
You coached at BYU and Fresno State. When you were at Fresno State, you had Paul George. You know him well. You've stayed in touch with him. And he and the 76ers are the story of the first round of the playoffs. The big upset, coming from 3-1 down to beat their ancient rivals, the Celtics. To 7 seed takes down the 2. But it feels like they were sandbagging. Paul George played 37 games. Embiid played 38. Between them, they didn't play a full season. And now here they are together in the playoffs winning. Did you feel like they were sandbagging, or are they just fortunate that their health came together, and given their history, staying healthy for 2 months and winning an NBA title seems like a stretch? What do you think of that?
Maybe a stretch. It was fun to watch, and obviously not having Tatum is a big loss for Boston, but that being said, it was fun for me to watch that game. I thought that they did everything that they needed to do, and it was just I didn't expect it, and that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. But yeah, it's one of those things that injuries can have a real toll on teams, especially late in the year. And to see Paul have a kind of a resurgence through a disciplinary issue during the course of the year, he had injuries, and then he stepped up and then really played well, and as the team did. So I was excited about that. I'm excited about the playoffs, and if they weren't there, probably not as excited. But the fact that Paul is playing, I'm looking forward to it all.
I'll never understand this, Coach. Just never understand it for the rest of my life. Is why a team continues to fire away threes when they're not hitting. Boston in that game, it's a one-possession game. It's close right down to the end. They're still firing away threes. They go 13 of 49, shoot 27%. What is the point? I know analytics says 3 is more than 2, but I'll go to my grave, and I'm not a mathematician thinking that 2 is better than 0.
No, I completely agree. Watching these games, especially watching that game, it just didn't make sense. It's like, yes, Tatum's not playing, okay? But that means we're going to play completely differently. I just thought they got away from their whole game plan, to be honest with you. It just kind of said, well, this is the only way we can win. And the fact is, the game is still very competitive. And I think maybe if they had played with a little more poise, with a little more togetherness and unity and making the extra pass, that they still had a chance to win the game. And I'm not sure that really the Sixers really believed it could happen, and still things started to unfold. And as you just mentioned, we're just jacking up threes, and it opened the door for them. And here we are, and the Boston's out of the playoffs, obviously, and we'll see going forward what's going to happen. But no, I agree. I just felt like they gave up. This is the only way we can win. And where's the mid-range game? Get to the free throw line. I just felt like, especially late in that game, they kind of, I don't know if they did physically, but emotionally and mentally, they seemed to just give up and figured this is the only way we can do it. And I think that's nonsense. I think they had a chance, and unfortunately, it wasn't going to happen playing that way.
I was told a long time ago when I was young, you're going to get an education because it gives you options, and life is about options. So my option turned out to be sportscasting. And the more I listen to coaches, the more I hear them say the same thing, usually in different words, but it's about options. If you're going to succeed, and it's every sport. Even coaches who want to run the ball in football want to have play action, and they want to throw deep so the safeties don't come up. You got to have options. Baseball. Home run hitters, hey, they're going to pitch you off the plate. You have got to learn to hit the ball the other way. Otherwise, that's all you're going to get. And if you try to pull that outside pitch, you're going to hit a ground ball to short every time. So you've got to learn to go the other way. You've got to have options. I've heard Pablo Mastroianni say it in soccer. Now we got a hockey team, and I'm hearing it. And I look at these basketball teams, and I'm actually on board. 3 is more than 2, the analytics tell you. But I also had a high school basketball coach who said, you just missed 3 18-footers in a row. Do you think maybe you got to go to the hoop? And then you go to the hoop and you get a bucket, you get a free throw. A couple minutes from now, you might go back and hit that 18-footer. And I've watched that play out in so many games. That's what I don't get. I get prioritizing it. I don't get staying locked in it. You've got to have other options. And when you get something going, you can go back to it. But I don't get the constant. I don't get it.
I think we saw a little bit late in the game where they got into mid-range shots, they got to the free throw line, and there seemed to be a little momentum change. But once they, they just continued to jack that thing up, and it took them out of an opportunity to be in that game late and to have an opportunity to win it. And I agree with you. I think that it doesn't matter whether we're playing high school basketball or junior college basketball or collegiate basketball or the NBA. The game's still the game. I mean, yes, there are different rules and different circumstances. I get all that. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to win close games, you're trying to get to the free throw line. You're trying to get yourself in a situation where you can attack the rim, where you provide and give yourself opportunities to get fouled and stay in the game with free throws. But it just seemed to me that Boston just kind of decided to just start jacking them up, and that was the only way they were going to have an opportunity. We all know that Tatum would have made a difference, but he wasn't there. So how about adjusting a little bit with your game, trying to get to the free throw line and doing the things that keep you in a game where there's a little bit of a momentum swing. And you just don't know what will happen. But if you play that way and you stay committed to it, I don't think they give themselves a great chance to kind of put themselves in a position to win that game.
And coaches go along the lines of a James Harden. He plays 37 minutes in the Cavaliers series clinching win against Toronto. He's only a pedestrian 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, but he's 11 of 13 from the free throw line. And he's been doing this. He's made literally hundreds of millions of dollars by doing this, not being the best shooter in the world, but still finding ways to contribute to your team. If your shot is hitting, great. His shot, 3 of 9, wasn't necessarily on, obviously 1 of 5 from 3, but he makes 11 points at the free throw line. He goes there 13 times. There's something to be said for that, and I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yes, I do. I mean, and I think because we think it's the NBA or we think it's collegiate or high school, honestly, the game itself hasn't changed that much. We realize the NBA, the three-point line is, farther away, and the game is played a little bit differently from high school to junior college to collegiate to the NBA. But the game is still the game. It's a purest game. These are the things we do. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a 10-year-old playing or a veteran in the NBA. The game shouldn't change, and regardless of what's going on. And I just felt like, whether it was Boston the other night where they were just jacking shots up and continued to shoot the three. It's funny, late in that game, they got to the rim and got to the free throw line, but then they came right back and they put themselves in a position again, long rebounds. And when you're shooting that many threes, what happens is the opponent gets long rebounds, and now there's transition baskets that wouldn't happen if you weren't just committed and yourself to the three ball. And I think, again, it doesn't matter what level we're talking about. The keys to successful basketball is getting to the free throw line, attacking the rim, shooting and making extra passes to get opportunities to get twos and to get threes, or to get to the point where you can hit threes and get fouled. And I was disappointed in the game plan. I realize your best player is not playing, but I don't think they gave themselves an opportunity to really win that game, because I'm not so sure that the confidence level in these games kind of wanes. And I was disappointed in that. And I'm thrilled to see that Paul could be there and be involved, and they could get a big win. But I just think they took the wrong approach, and consequently, it happened. But we hope Tatum gets feeling better and they'll come back. Boston's always going to be in the thick of it. They're well coached, and but it was one of these things that I think they probably they didn't give up. But the approach they took to trying to win this game just didn't make sense to me.
Going big picture on the playoffs here, watching the regular season, and I know the playoffs are different. Watching the regular season, I thought the Thunder and Spurs are far and away the best teams. Now we get to the playoffs. 6 of the 8 series go 6 or 7 games. And the only 2 that didn't are the Thunder winning in 4 and the Spurs winning in 5. Are the Thunder or the Spurs the 2 best teams? Are they going to meet in the Western Final, and is that essentially the NBA title series?
Yes, to that question, yes. I mean, OKC, they sweep. The Lakers win 4-2. Nuggets, the T-Wolves, who were right there, they win 4 games to 2. But I think the Spurs and OKC are the 2 teams playing, and probably the 2 best teams in the NBA. We'll see what happens in terms of San Antonio and if they can continue this. I mean, it looks pretty obvious. I mean, Detroit in the East, in Cunningham, Embiid, Maxey, Brunson, all of these guys in the East that are keeping, just solid players in the NBA. But I just like the idea that OKC beats the Lakers, T-Wolves get beat by the Spurs. You got San Antonio with Wemby and Castle, and I just think that the teams that we see right now, I just like this. In the Eastern Conference, I like the Knicks. I know that, I don't think the Cavaliers are there for the long term. Detroit obviously had a good year, but they barely hung on to win 4-3 against the Magic. So that's one of those things you never know until the end. But I like the Knicks. I'm excited about the Sixers being in it. And who knows? Embiid, he goes for 34, 12, and 6. Maxey goes for 30. The thing I loved about that game with the Sixers is that Maxey just took over. And they had 30, 11, and 7. He wasn't a big part of that game. And maybe the guy that really got him over the top was Edgecombe, who went 23, 6, and 4, and put the Sixers in a position where they beat the Celtics. Mind you, Tatum was hurt. But I just felt like Boston just started, Brown and White both just jacking up threes, thinking that's the way they're going to win. And I don't think that was the formula to winning. And I'm not sure they win no matter how they play. But I'm excited about both the Eastern and Western Conference playoff games. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's just great to see different people and different teams.
I got an assignment for you, Coach. Are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Here's what I want you to do. Jazz face an interesting offseason, as most teams do, but particularly this is the team we focus on, and they're ready to take another step. So I want you to call up Austin Ainge, say, hey, Austin, haven't heard from you for a little bit, and just wanted to talk to you. Hey, what's going on? And then he gives you some nuggets on what they're going to do, and then you report back.
I will do that. And we'll talk about it next week. It's funny you should mention that, because when Austin came in and we had a quick phone call, and I really haven't had any real communication with him. But I'll give him. Hopefully, he'll return my phone call. But if he does return my phone call, I'd love just to talk to Austin. And listen, we all know that they're absolutely up against it, and. So I would be interested, and if they don't mind, I'll share it with us all. And hopefully he'll give us some nuggets and some insights to what's next for the Jazz. Because I think the one thing about this community that I've never seen in any other community is that regardless of what happens on the floor, off the floor, the Jazz fans are the most loyal fans I've ever seen. And it seems like every time I go to a Jazz game or I'm watching a Jazz game, the place is full, it's packed, there's energy. And so hats off to a community that supports a team that's been in a real struggle the last few years. So all of us involved in this, the fans, myself, you guys, all the reporters, we all want to see the Jazz take a next step. And hopefully that happens sooner than later.
Well, if you talk to Austin this week, he might hit you with the answer, not sure what we're going to do, Steve. Talk to me Sunday about 1:30 when that draft lottery is over, and I'll have a better idea. Because if they have a top pick, I think I know what happens. But if they're picking 5, 6, 7, 8, well, not 8, but let's say they're picking 5 or 6, are they trading the pick? Do they want a smaller point guard? That's probably what will be on the board at that point. If they're drafting 3rd or 4th, it gets really interesting. Can they move up? I think that would be difficult, but possible. So a lot rides on that draft lottery coming up Sunday. I mean, a lot rides on that thing.
It does. And you know what? I'll get to work myself as well. I know we always usually take some time to talk about the draft, and not just the lottery, but the draft itself. And I'm excited about taking time to talk about the draft and what we see happening, and if there's some trades. So it'll be exciting. It's exciting stuff, and it's certainly for the Jazz. There's some opportunities here, and hopefully they can get better and move forward. I have complete confidence in Austin. And obviously, Danny's been around doing this for a long time. But I think we're all hopeful that we can take the next step, whether it's a trade or whatever the circumstances are. All of us here in Utah, I know, want to see this thing get better. And I'm supportive of them, and I'm hopeful that in the next year or two, and in my mind, the quickest way to do this is through trades and not through the draft, because then now we're waiting again for another 2 or 3 years. So hopefully a combination of both, and we'll see what happens next week.
All right, there is Steve Cleveland. When we come back, we'll talk with Mike Folta, radio voice of the Utah Mammoth. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Mike Folta joined us in yesterday's show to talk about the Mammoth and what to look forward to next season. Of course, at that point, we didn't know Vegas was going to win Game 1, beat Anaheim 3-1. Good third period for Vegas, an empty netter to put it away. So they're up 1-0 in that playoff series. Here's Mike Folta with PK and I. There are options also for Mike Folta, but he chooses to speak with us before he disappears to play golf somewhere in central Indiana. Mike, good morning.
Central Indiana. Boy, I got a 12:50 tee time over at Rose Park this afternoon. Come on, give us the golf part's absolutely right, though.
You and everybody else in the NHL. It's just from a slap shot to a tee shot. It's a small tweak. You're ready to go.
That's right. And for me, they're both not very impressive, but I got some time to work on it now. So. Starting to get into that off-season mode. We had exit meetings yesterday. We're going to hear from Bill Armstrong and management, we think, coming up in the next day or so. Not sure exactly when, but it's that kind of weird feeling where school's over, everybody breaks for the summer, and you're excited for the summer, but you wish you were still playing right now. And I think the Mammoth. I think everybody on that team thought they were going to be playing in a Game 7 on Sunday in Vegas, and here we are. So it was a good season for the Mammoth. It was unequivocally a successful season, but once you're in the fire, like all you think about is winning that next game. And I think you can say it's a successful season, but that doesn't mean we all feel like it right now, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, Mike, I think that happens in every sport. When the end comes, it comes so suddenly. You're on a rush, you're on a high. And even me as a old sports writer and now into radio, experienced it. You're all excited. And then when it ends, it's like a big crash. It's like, oh, what do you do now? I got something a bone I want to pick with you, because I thought, Mike, you were exclusive to us. But then the other day I hear you on the afternoon show. So instead of Mike Folta not being exclusive, from now on, you're going to be known to me as Mike Vrabel.
Hey, let's leave Diana Rossini out of this, okay? for my sake and for Mike Vrabel's sake. You know what? I did go. I was talking with Jake and Ben. I had talked with JJ and Alex throughout the year a little bit. But guys, I want you to know they were just getting your leftovers. They kind of like Diana Rossini. They were just getting your leftovers. Like they were. I was recycling my material. You guys are my day one ride or die. And but it's. Oh, sorry. Was that across the line?
A little bit, yeah. I think so. I think officially we can get a ruling from the judges, but I'm pretty sure that was across the line.
Okay.
No, you got. In order to cross the line, you got to get to the line, Mike. Keep pushing it.
Well, if you want to hear more Diana Rossini jokes, just tune into Jake and Ben this afternoon. So it'll be the same one.
All right, so there are some free agents here, and it sounds like most of them want to come back. I think Yamamoto was the most blunt maybe, but I think they were all pretty clear. So what do you think is going to happen first as far as retaining guys? There's $14 million worth of cap room. Who do they want to spend it on? Where do you think they're headed with this? Can you bring the group back, or do they have to make some changes?
Yeah, there's going to be some really hard decisions made this year by players and by management. And you look back at guys like Kyler Yamamoto, who's an unrestricted free agent. You could go down the roster and point to all these guys who are UFAs, and you could make a case for them to come back next year pretty easily. Like Kyler Yamamoto was a player who 2 years ago in Utah's first season, he had to basically play his way into a contract in the preseason. He didn't sign until October, and then this year he signs a one-year deal in July. The Mammoth didn't mess around; they got him signed quickly because he was so effective. Alexander Kerfoot is another guy who's an unrestricted free agent. Kevin Stenlund, like those are two huge pieces for you right there. They kill penalties. They're very good defensive players. Stenlund is your best face-off man. That's a big decision. Like what happens next there? Ian Cole is going to be an unrestricted free agent. He's 37. Nick DeSimone, another defenseman, unrestricted free agent. So do you bring those guys back? They were great whenever they were put in throughout the year. And Cole played in all 82 games and all the playoff games. So a lot of decisions could be made. And I don't have the answers for you as to who sticks around. But the thing you have to remember is there's guys coming up. There's prospects, there's draft picks that are coming up through the system, and a lot of them had really impressive seasons at their respective levels. You're talking about T. Ginla, who scored almost a goal a game in the WHL. He'll have a great chance to make the team. Cole Baudouin, a kid who's 20 years old, he's going to be a pro player next year. We just don't know what level, if it'll be the AHL or the NHL. He was one of the most decorated players in the Ontario Hockey League this year. You've got Caleb Denoyer, who was taken 4th overall last draft by the Mammoth. He'll be 19, and he'll have a chance to make the team as well coming out of camp. And you can go on down the list. There's a bunch of guys like that who are waiting for their turn to be that next guy coming up. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about for most of the offseason is can those hot shot prospects make the team? But that absolutely is going to factor into who can go and who will stay in terms of these unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, this reminds me. Are you a Cubs fan at all?
Funny enough, I was sick of all the Cubs and Reds fans around me, so I veered off the road and went to be a Cardinals fan growing up in Indiana.
Okay, that's cool. And I can respect that because I've done that my whole life, where everybody zigs, I zag, or vice versa. But it reminds me of maybe two guys that come to mind in baseball. Chris Bryant, when he was drafted, kid out of Vegas, and I think he went to San Diego, and he was taken high. And then Mike Trout, a kid out of South Jersey. You kept hearing about those guys in their respective minor leagues for the Cubs and the Angels. I went to a Cubs spring training game down in Phoenix one time. It's just south of ASU, not very far, Sloan Park. And it was like 2 hours before the game, and everybody was waiting for Bryant. He was going to come out of the clubhouse and go work out at one of the fields in the back, not even play in the main game. And the line for him to maybe get an autograph or to see him was just incredible, because I went over and I go, what's all the fuss about, right? And so now I keep hearing these guys in the Utah organization, and I'm just wondering, as you look at them, what have you heard in terms of any of them being a Chris Bryant or a Mike Trout? Because obviously they made major impacts, and I realize Bryant has gotten hurt. But when he's with the Cubs, they won a World Series, and Trout has had a resurgence and is probably a Hall of Famer. And I wonder who among these guys, because we've heard so much about them, can really be a star at the NHL level.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you hear about all of them, to be honest. All you have to do is talk to Bill Armstrong for a couple of minutes, and he will. You could be talking about the weather, and somehow he would work the prospects into the conversation because I think the organization is that excited. And honestly, guys, that's why contracts are being structured the way they are right now too. You look at Bill signing guys to longer term deals. Guys that he wants to keep around that are going to help the team, but those longer-term deals also help keep the AAV down as well. Like you think about signing Cooley to an 8-year, $80 million deal, that's $10 million a year. It sounds like a lot, but if you were to wait a year, if you were to wait, at the end of this season as opposed to signing that deal in October, his price is probably going up. So, and the same thing for Dylan Guenther, who they jumped on really early. They're trying to keep the AAV down for these guys and sign them as early as possible because they know there's going to be some elite players coming in. And, I'm really excited about T. Ginla. He's a guy who has an elite shot. He's got a ton of skill. He's the son of NHL Hall of Famer Jerome Ginla, so he's got some great lineage. He's an incredible kid, too. Like when you meet a young player and you just have zero doubt that they're going to be a star because of their temperament and their character and personality. Like that's T. Ginla. We've seen him in the preseason. It's gonna be an adaptation for him to get ready for the NHL game compared to what he's been going through in juniors. But like his skill and his shot, like that translates across any level. So there's going to be, an elite scorer in a few years. We're hoping that you're getting into the organization. Another guy you're hearing about is Michael Robel, a goalie from the University of Massachusetts, the mighty Minutemen. He's 6'7". He was a second-round pick a couple years ago, and he had one of the best seasons for a college goalie like in recent memory. He was incredible for UMass, and he joined the Tucson Roadrunners in the AHL at the end of the year. Played a few games with them, looked really good. I don't know how quickly we'll see him in the NHL, but we have another goalie that could be making his way up in Michael Robel. I think everyone's really excited about him. And then also, guys, we still haven't seen a ton of Daniil Boot and Dmitry Simashev. These were two first-round picks from a couple years ago that got their toes wet this season, played a little bit, and showed some really good things, but still needed some ripening. They spent most of the year in the minor leagues where they were dominant. Like when they were in the minor leagues, Daniil Boot was a point-per-game player, and Dmitry Simashev was maybe the best player on the ice with Tucson. So I think you're expecting those guys to take another step heading into training camp this year and compete for, positions in Utah's lineup. So it's exciting. It's all exciting, and we're going to see how it unfolds at training camp. And then once we hit free agency on July 1st and the draft, and the Mammoths have a stockpile of weapons and prospects. And here's the other thing, guys. Don't be surprised if some of these draft picks or some of these prospects get traded away for current players, just because the Mammoths have that ability.
Yeah, it's a Josh Doan story then.
It could be. And look, I think we all thought Josh was going to be a great player. And his timeline wasn't as much in line with what Utah needed. And the Mammoths were trying to bring in that elite scoring threat because they were missing that 2 years ago. They weren't missing it as much this season. They had 6 different 20-goal scorers, including J.J. Peterka, who came over for Josh Doan. Honestly, like if you would have told me Josh Doan would have had 25 goals this year with Buffalo, which he did, I don't know if I would have bought that. But give credit to him; he had a great season in Buffalo. But yeah, absolutely, be ready for big swings from this organization because I think the Mammoths want to make it known that they're stepping into their championship window, if you will.
There are decisions where it's not just yes or no, sign him, let him go. I'm intrigued by someone like Barrett Hayton because if you're in a salary cap league, I just read a story about how the Dolphins had this with Tua Tagovailoa and went the wrong way. They tried to sign him early, like you said, keep that average annual value, right? And it bit him, and it cost the GM and the coach their job, right? Because Tua just didn't produce a high enough level. And now the same thing with C.J. Stroud, who had a great year, but now the numbers have dipped a little. And for the Mammoth, that's Barrett Hayton. Because he was a young guy on the way up, got to play some of the top line, had a 20-goal season, 46 points, and you're wondering, well, is he good for 25 or 30 goals? Can he turn in 50 or 60 points? Where's this going to go? And it went backwards this year. And so you could give him a longer-term deal and figure he's going to bounce back. You could let him go and make way for these young guys who might make a great transition, but maybe they struggle and need some time. And I read this one story that it was predicting somebody who knows Bill and has been following him way longer than I have, right? I've been on 2 years since the team moved. And they were predicting that he'd probably give him a 1-year deal, let it say, okay, best 2 years out of 3, Barrett, and you got to beat out these other guys who are moving up. But if you do it, and, guys have bad years sometimes, maybe he is 25 goals and 60 points next year. Maybe he bounces back and earns that big long-term deal. You have any feel for that? Because there's 3 potential options. And I didn't count the 4th you just brought up, which is sign him, put him in a deal, and move him. And somebody else wants to take that chance on him.
So Barrett Hayton's an RFA. Which means a restricted free agent. So it's not exactly an unrestricted free agent. He can't just go wherever he wants. At some point, he will turn into
One more
a
year.
UFA.
One more year to unrestricted. Yeah.
Right. So he's restricted right now, which means the team has a little bit more control over the situation. I think over the last 2 years, one of the conversations around Barrett Hayton, I think, has been that he has been playing the 2C, the 1C position, like one of your top two centermen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably, on a good team, he's probably a 3C. It was only a couple years ago where he had 20 goals.
Right.
This year he didn't quite have the puck luck. I think he had 9. So you're right. Like, the numbers dipped significantly, but he also didn't see as much time that high up in the lineup. Like, He got moved down, and by the end of the season, we saw him slotting in that 3C neighborhood, or even 4C in the playoffs. And guys, he was hurt in the playoffs. Like, he played one game. He was playing banged up. He was not at 100% there at the end of the year. But you give credit to him for trying to play through it. But on a good team, yeah, he's probably not your first or second line center. And Andre Tourigny loves Barrett Hayton. Like, he's been through the battles with him all throughout Barrett's career. He came in as a teenager and was a really high draft pick and was a guy who the Coyotes probably could have drafted later in the first round. I'll just say that. And it's not Barrett's fault he got drafted, 5th or 6th overall. But he's incredibly versatile. I remember talking about him last week, either with you guys or with my other marriage, Jake and Ben. And he takes face-offs, he kills penalties. You can put him on the power play, and you can put him with top players. Like, he's played a bunch with Keller and Schmaltz over the last couple of years. Now, but the difference between Barrett Hayton and those examples of C.J. Stroud and Tua Tagovailoa that you mentioned, DJ, is that Barrett Hayton's not on a $100 million contract. Right. He's making $265 this season. So I don't know what that number would be next year. I will say his value exceeds his stats. Like, a guy like J.J. Peterka is paid to produce. Like, he's going to be judged on his points. A guy like Barrett Hayton, he does a lot more than that. And I think Barrett Hayton might lead the team in assists that don't count as assists, where the goal would not have happened without Barrett Hayton, but he doesn't get, like, any, goal or assist or point for his work on the ice, whether it's a screen or winning a face-off or
The story I read pointed out that he brought a lot of value on the defensive side of the puck, and the stats aren't going to measure that as well. So all this has to be weighed in. And the fact that he'd be holding down a roster spot. And so what do you think of him long-term versus some of the young guys in the minor leagues who we read about, but we're not seeing them, and obviously the club is. It's just really intriguing. He just sat at the crossroads, and it could go so many different ways.
Well, and think about this too, guys, is that I mentioned these other names earlier, Alexander Kerfoot and Kevin Stenlund. They're both unrestricted free agents. They're both UFAs. So how many of these centermen are you going to let walk, basically, or if any? Are you going to keep them all? What does that look like? And so I think Barrett Hayton's situation is tied to those other two guys. And the prospects coming up, Cole Baudouin for the Barrie Colts. He's a guy who is very good defensively as well. I think he was named the top defensive forward in the OHL this year. He's a centerman. He can play that role. And Caleb Denoye is a centerman as well. Now, I am leaning towards believing Denoye at 19 years old is going to be in the American Hockey League. I think that'd be a great place for him to kind of earn his chops. He could make the team, just like Cole, but those are two guys who might not make the Mammoth out of camp. And so if you have two guys that don't make the Mammoth out of camp, and then you have, Stenlund and Kerfoot and their status is in question, like, are you in a hurry to chase Barrett Hayton out of town? I'm definitely not.
Yeah, that's why the story was saying he might get 1 year, that they might not commit to him long term, but they could walk him up to that unrestricted free agency with a 1-year deal. It's just one person's opinion. Who knows? We'll see what Bill does. We'll leave it right there for now, Mike. We appreciate it. And if you haven't seen the photo They do that gone fishing thing when the teams get eliminated from the NBA playoffs, and they usually put a local celebrity. So when Boston got knocked out, it was Vrabel and Rossini on the boat with them. So you're not.
I saw that. Yeah.
Joke. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, man, we can probably leave them alone, right? I mean, but you know what, guys, I'm gonna hang up with you. I'm gonna head over to this nice couples resort in Sedona just to unwind for a little bit, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'm gonna check out the rooftop, see what's going on.
There's Mike Folta. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.